Once upon a mountain top, three little trees stood and dreamed of what they wanted to become when they grew up. The first little tree looked up at the stars and said, "I want to hold treasure. I want to be covered with gold and filled with precious stones. I'll be the most beautiful treasure chest in the world." The second little tree looked out at the small stream trickling by on its way to the ocean. "I want to be traveling mighty waters and carrying powerful kings. I'll be the strongest ship in the world." The third little tree looked down into the valley below where busy men and women worked in a busy town. "I don't want to leave the mountain top at all. I want to grow so tall that when people stop to look at me, they'll raise their eyes to heaven and think of God. I will be the tallest tree in the world." The years passed, and one day, three lumberjacks climbed the mountain and cut down the three trees. Although the trees had longed to become something specific, they could not choose their destiny. The first tree, instead of becoming a chest, was transformed into a simple trough to feed animals. The second, instead of an imposing ship, became a small fishing boat. The third, which had wanted to remain upright on the mountain, was cut into long beams and left in a warehouse. The three disillusioned trees wondered about the meaning of it all. But on a starlit night, a young mother placed her newborn child in the animal trough, and then the first tree realized it held the world's greatest treasure. Years later, the second tree carried an exhausted man who slept inside it during a raging storm. When this man arose, he rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Quiet down, calm down." The wind became still, and the sea calmed at that instant. Did the tree understand that it was carrying the true king of heaven and earth? Sometime later, on a Friday marked by pain, the third tree was horrified to see its beams being transformed into a cross for the crucifixion of a man. The tree felt cruel and undignified. But on Sunday, the world was filled with joy, and the tree understood that it held the man who had been resurrected, bringing salvation to humanity. Now, when people looked at it, they would always remember God and His Son Jesus Christ. The trees had had dreams, but their accomplishments were 1,000 times better and wiser than they had imagined. Moral of the story: just like the three trees, we often have dreams and plans that do not coincide with God's plans. However, in His infinite wisdom, He leads us to a much greater purpose than we can understand. We need to trust because God always surprises us with His love and mercy. If we give our lives into His hands, we can be sure that He knows exactly what is best for each of us. If you believe God's designs are perfect, comment, "I believe." Remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon.